Hi folks, welcome to iDrum, and today we're in the legendary, the establishment known as Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club here in the heart of London, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by none other than Mr. Mark Fletcher.
Hello there, Squire.
Mark, thank you so much for your time.
You.
Thanks for helping sort all this out for us. We appreciate that very much.
Oh, it was hard. Yeah. That's a lot of people.
I can imagine.
I know.
Right. I mean, you kind of almost live here perpetually.
Yes, it's a nightmare I wake up to every day. It's a good nightmare in a good way, yeah. But you know, there's so many memories and stories to tell. I get reminded by other people.
Right.
I'm forgetting about so many, like 30 years of stuff.
That's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into a little bit of that. But first of all, I just want to just sort of step back a little bit and how did drums come about for you?
Me? Well, my dad used to be a drummer.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he asked me if I was interested in drums, and I was about 9 years old, and I said, well, no, not really. So he sold his kit. Then about 6 months later, I wanted to play drums.
You did it out of spite.
Well, yeah, well, we all do, don't we?
And what drums did he sell?
An old Premier kit, an early 60s Premier kit. And then so they bought me an old Blue Shimmer Premier kit from Cranes in Coventry.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, and for my birthday. And that was like I say, 6 months later, and then I started playing and then about a year after that I was doing gigs.
Really?
10, 11 years old.
Wow. I mean, so you were having lessons at the time?
Well, I used to go to, when I was about 11, I used to go to Neil Wilkinson's uncle called Bill Evans, Snowy Evans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then through that, he put me in touch with Max Abrams, which Neil was going for lessons for. Sure. And then I used to bring Neil down. He was too young to go on his own, to untrained to London to both have lessons with Max.
So you used to go way down. Oh, was he here in London at the time then?
Max, yeah. Right, it was in Sloane Square.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
But he was held in esteem by so many people. I mean, people who would normally say, "Oh yeah, we hung out," like nowadays. Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, it actually said like Ed Thigpen, he goes, "Oh, I had lessons off him," and Louis Belson, "Oh, I had lessons off him." Right. They actually say they had a lesson off him, which he would, and he probably charged them for him. Right. Because he was like that, you know. He would. There's a lot of stories I got with that, but he was a Scottish, Jewish Scottish. So Abramovich was his real name.
Is that right?
Max Abramovich.
Okay. Right.
And when he died, when he was in Eastbourne, he ended up in Eastbourne. When he died, myself and Neil Wilkinson, we went down there just thinking it was like a remembrance thing, and it wasn't. It was actually the coffin there and the funeral. And then we went back to his apartment and cleared out his stuff and found a treasure of stuff. I bet. You know, signed things, the original Sing 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 78, which I've got, and Neil's got this, and the Cine 8 footage of him teaching Norman Wisdom to play drums for a film. Right. All this was there. Fantastic. And this guy turned up in a limousine, and I said, "Oh, this is Jim. Oh, pleased to meet you. I just got on with him. Didn't know Jim Marshall." Oh, right, of course, yeah. Jim was a drummer. Exactly. Yeah, everybody thinks he's, because he's known for his amps, but he was a drummer, and a fine drummer too. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. So anyway, that was your sort of the formative years, and then I mean, what was the first sort of gig that you got? What was? Oh, I remember. There was a New Year's Eve in the Fellshill Road in Coventry at the Buffs Club. Right, the Buffs Club. The Buffs Club in Coventry. I was 11 years old. Right. Or 12. No, 11. It's New Year's Eve, so it's just before I was 12. Right. And it was with and I didn't know he was on piano, and it turns out to be my music teacher from school. Yeah. Did he say, "What are you doing here?" Yeah, what are you doing here? Yeah. And I got a little anyway, I won't talk about that. and when we got to school, he actually decided to get a little piano trio together and play for assembly and stuff like that. So I got my mate on double bass. He couldn't play to save his life, but he just went thump, 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 anything. This is me on drums with the piano teacher. Nice. So that was great. That was a good start. And it was all little jazzy stuff. So there was a fair bit of encouragement then, all the way along, which was good. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, so then, I mean, okay. Then after Coventry, then you moved down to London. Well, yeah, I came down a few times, and then I did some tours in the late '70s, like with Johnny Ray and people like that. Oh, okay. And I was always like this infant in the band, But I got called in, and then I worked at loads of Mecca venues, so I didn't really. It was like moving all the time. I played at the Top Rank Street in Reading with Trevor Horn on bass and things like this. His early years, Nice. And then Bristol, and then Gloucester, and up north. And then I lived in Birmingham for a few years. Did some big band work, some TV shows in Central. Right. And then went on cruises for about 4 years on and off. So went around the world. Then I was going to live in the States for a couple of years. Did that, moved there. came back. It was just still like a gypsy lifestyle, which I still am doing.
The nomad.
Oh yes.
Nomad of the drums.
That's it.
Okay. So I mean, the cruises must have been an interesting experience.
A lot of musicians have always, they cut their teeth doing the cruise, because it's not just about playing the music and handling charts and that. It's how to handle yourself socially as well.
Yeah, of course.
Because you cocoon with people every day, and it's bound to be friction. So it gives you social skills,
right,
or
right.
antisocial skills.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on who you're rooming with, I guess.
Yeah, the Buena Vista Antisocial Club I was part of. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, all right, but I mean, again, the cruises. I mean, that whole kind of thing. I mean, there's
Great.
the pad, and you're working like 4 sets a night. This kind of
easy,
thing.
Yeah. You got rehearsals, and you got embarkation music, disembarkation music, and all that sort of disemboweling music.
Yeah. Okay, because you have to do like lifeboat duty stuff and things like that.
Every week I had to do it. Oh God, it was in Alaska. And it's like 8 in the morning. You've been on a bender all night. They go with the guys, and you got to lower this lifeboat down. Your hands, and oh man, seriously, the piano player, the MD, was going, "What am I doing this for?" But it was just tough. It was great, but tough. Then I did some. I hung onto doing like this long cruise in Alaska, because we were doing a jazz cruise afterwards with Dizzy Gillespie and Sweets Edison. And
oh, nice.
So we did that on the west coast of America. Then went to Rio and Brazil and stuff. There's a lot of mileage you can clock up. That would cost a fortune for you to do as a punter.
Sure, yeah.
I was going like Athens to Hong Kong and
right,
loads of the Caribbean, and way up into Alaska, and down to Brazil and stuff.
But I mean, a great place, a great environment to meet a lot of people, make a lot of contacts.
And wherever I went, I found musicians, and I used to play regularly in Singapore with some great guys, some great Filipino guys every week. I used to play there. I was out there for 4 months, going Hong Kong, Singapore. And it's good. I mean, now those days there wasn't any mobile phones, let alone internet and stuff like that. But now I'm discovering people via Facebook and stuff like that.
Right.
People I know from like 30 years ago.
Finding them again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. And they're still playing. And
yeah. Or some of them got different businesses and that, but they're all successful. They're doing stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's all right. Okay. All right. Now, kind of getting back up to a little bit more up to date. I mean, you're definitely renowned for your brush playing.
Apparently, yeah.
I'm an atrocious brush player. I've got to tell you right away, I have no technique. But I love the texture, that sound. I mean, what was it that drew you to brushes? Was there a particular tune or something, or was...
Oh, it can't pin it down to one thing. It's just that I always admired people who could play them and get such a vibe going with them.
Yeah.
Not just use them as quiet alternative to sticks, because they can play, like you've seen Elvin and things like that.
Yeah.
They could be as loud as sticks. And I've shown on a few drum clinics I've done. I've shown things that you can do with brushes. I said, right, I'm just going to show this once, and I show this thing, and I do a Bonham thing, and it just trashes the brushes. They're shaped like L's by the end of it, like that. But I said, there's things you can do, and it's a different touch because there's no bounce. It's all to do. You've got to pull the sound out of the drum, damp it, swish, different shapes and stuff like that. But I've never actually thought of it technically, although there's a lot of technique and things involved. I've just naturally progressed to doing a certain sounds and shapes, or if I hear something, but I mean, before the days of video, it's literally, tape player or record player back. And I always remember one thing Buddy Rich did on a tune off Wailing Buddy Rich. I think it was either Broadway or something like that, and he does the most incredible drum solo on it, and it's basically just all on snare drum.
Lovely.
And it's the most musical thing I've heard, and I'm crikey. And then there's some great players who come here and play brushes fantastically.
Yeah.
And there's those things you can nick.
Yeah.
No matter how much you've got together, there's loads of things you can nick. I got together with Ed Thigpen a few times here.
Right.
Bless him. And I said, show me some brush stuff. He said, no, you show me some of that stick stuff you do. And I said, no, you show me that. And then I got to play with Buster Williams, and that he was playing here with Buster Williams. And he said, show him Buck and Bubbles, which is an old sand from a musical act, vocal act.
Oh, okay.
They did sand dance together. Oh, so he did this thing. It's like sand dance and shapes, and you'd actually sweep your foot across the sand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just, I'm just going, that's the stuff.
Yeah, nice.
I'm just hooked, You know, watching the greats do something that up close, watching Elvin play a ballad,
Yeah.
it just rips your heart out.
Sure, yeah. No, I mean, you are blessed being here, you know, the club so often and seeing all these other. I mean, guys like Adam Nussbaum, another great brush player.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That DVD he's done, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's
I told him.
Very underrated player, but
When he plays over here regularly, you know.
Big in my house.
Well, he plays over here a lot with Mike Walker and Gwilym Simcox.
Sure, yeah.
With Steve Swallow, Impossible Gentleman. You know, he's a lovely guy as well. I'll get on with him. Really.
Yeah, he's very funny. Yeah,
Lovely,
fabulous brush player.
Well, that DVD he put it together with Steve Smith.
Yeah,
They did that.
there was a few of them.
Brilliant, The Art
yeah.
of the Brushes.
Yeah, exactly.
Billy Hart and Charlie Persip.
Yeah, and everybody had new brushes except for who was it who had the really old pair of brushes? He wouldn't take a new pair of brushes.
He's had them for years. I know. I meet people now who've had brushes for years and all that. I say, well, I've gone through 2, 3, 4 pairs in a week.
Right.
You know, sometimes 40 pairs a year. You know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to get Carol at Regal Tip. She, you know, last time I saw her when I went around the house and that, I said, look, you've got to make me a brush with more wires. 30% more wires, or something like that. And she said, "Oh, the cost of the machinery to get the ferrule and all this sort of thing."
Right.
I said, "So I've got a mate of mine who's going to do it in Essex, actually." So
oh, really?
It takes just try and make it just a prototype.
Yeah.
Because I just trash them, you know.
Right. But it's really more the securing of them rather than.
Well, yeah, securing and more wires. There's something to do, I think, with we can get more of a blap out and tones out.
Right.
I mean, I've tried Jeff Hamilton's, but they're like playing rakes. You know, they're very stiff wires.
Yeah.
Thicker wires.
That's a very heavy wire.
Oh,
yeah.
I tried playing those, and it was like it's like baseball bat.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But sticking with the whole subject of sound, I mean, you are. That really is your focus, isn't it? Sound. I mean, again, is this something that came from like your early days when you were listening to records and you were trying to figure out how stuff was done?
Exactly. That's exactly how it was. And listening to how they sounded on the record, that was the thing. And people don't realise that you get a good sound when you're on top of a kit. You know, they gaffer and moon gel everything up. It's going to sound shite out the front. Yeah. Because it's just going to sound like the drums are still in their cases.
Right.
You know, they've got to sing. The drums have got to sing to resonate and go out. In some rooms, it's not very, you know, very drum friendly.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but the stage here at Ronnie's is quite hard. You can play as loud as you want on stage, and it's going to go this far.
Right. Because like, all the furnishings and stuff.
Well,
yeah,
the
and
stage
the carpet.
is really like sandbagged down, so something it's solid stage.
Oh, is that right?
And there's no reflective surface.
Right.
So I've heard like Billy Higgins play it really gently with Cedar Wall, and he's got a little 16-inch bass drum and stuff like that. And he's just touching it, and I can hear him at the back of the room.
Nice.
But then I've seen like Tane or Tony Williams really lamping it, and it just goes, whoop, stops there.
Yeah.
Just by the beginning of the stage, you know it's loud, but it's just the amps and everything that throw it out. You know.
So were you trying to like emulate the record? You were trying to produce the recorded sound
for live.
Yeah, live.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, always.
Because the other thing is, of course, is as you say rightly, you know, out front it always sounds different. It's like you almost need to tune the drums higher where you are.
Yeah.
So because by the time it travels out there, it's dipped a little bit.
I mean,
anyway.
I've just tuned the kit I'm going to play tonight.
Right.
And the last person who had it, obviously, didn't have much of a clue. But there's a shitload of gaffer tape on. Half the lugs are just undone.
Oh.
Like this, and go, I went, oh God.
Right.
You know, the amount of times I've had to play, you know, well, so many people's kits I've had to use, like Keith Carlock's and Tane Watts and stuff. And I've had to, last week I had to use a kit, and it had old pinstripes on it. Oh. And loads of gaffer.
Oh, lovely.
And I've got to come up with some stuff on it. It's like playing an elephant's arse, you know. It's just, I hurt my hands. Last week I did hurt my hands. I did 2 gigs with Nigel Kennedy playing Hendrix stuff.
Oh, nice.
I was going really wacky.
Okay, was that the proms?
No, it was 2 days after he did the proms. And
right.
I did a week with the Pizza Express with John Etheridge.
Right. Oh, nice.
We were doing Zapatistas. We did all Zappa stuff one night. And
right.
A couple of other things.
Because you did the whole, I mean, the Etheridge connections from your Soft Machine days.
Well, I'm doing Soft Machine this weekend.
Really? Oh, excellent.
Because John Marshall collapsed last week. So it's not that excellent, but
no.
We collapsed while playing at the Pizza.
Oh, no.
And they said, and so I've had to deck my band out here. Jeremy Stacey's just come back from New York today, I think.
Right. So he's going to do it
he's doing my band.
Oh, okay, and you're going to go and do Soft Machine.
It's going to be Jezz's brew instead of Fletcher's brew.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, that'll work. I'm sure he likes to
will.
flex his jazz chops too, doesn't he?
He sits in occasionally here.
Yeah.
And he comes off and goes, oh, man, I played shit, you know. I said, no, you didn't. You never played shit.
No.
You know, and he goes, oh, but you're killing, man. You're doing. I said, yeah, but I do this every week, so that's what I'm used to.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there is that element. I mean, it is constant development and inspiration, probably more than anything. Just being in such an environment. environment.
Soak it up. There's so much here. I mean, I've spent many early mornings here,
right
through the night, and there's a vibe in these walls. 50 odd years,
right.
Of Ronnie's been, well, it's 40 odd because it was moved from Gerrard Street, but there's a lot of like
history,
like ghosts, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, I've got many experiences, good and bad, but you know, it's a fantastic place. You know, you can't help but be inspired.
No. Well, there's a benchmark that you've got to start off at in the first place.
Well, yeah, I was so honoured for Ronnie used to call me up, you know, every other day to come in and play, and organise trios for horn players and singers.
Right.
He used to call me up. Him and Pete used to say, "Oh, can you get a trio together for so and so?" Okay. Then I used to play with Ronnie, and then when he couldn't play, he used to call me up to come in an afternoon and say, because he had a lot of operation on his teeth.
Yeah.
And he couldn't play for ages, and he was like, "Come in and have a play with us." So he used to call me up to just come in, and he'd walk around the room with his saxophone, try mouthpiece out, just me on stage, like, yeah.
Nice. He was a special man.
Oh, he was the governor. He was
very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny. If you sat anywhere near the front, you were in trouble.
Well, we're throwing the band. He used to introduce me as the best drummer in his price range. You know, he was right, but then I put my money up.
Best drummer in his price. That's lovely. But he was great. I remember him once. He was halfway through introducing Elvin Jones, actually,
really?
and he stopped, and there was a fella sitting in the audience, and he pointed at him. He said, "So you're the bloke that stole the seat covers out of my Ford Poplar?"
That's the jacket.
Got the suit. Yeah. The bloke's kind of like,
oh no.
But that's how the club was. It was.
Oh, it's all tongue in cheek.
The moment you walked in, it was from Monty meeting you at the door, greeting you.
He died
right through. It was always an experience to come.
And it's good to see some of the old doormen. They're actually working like minicabs and stuff in Frith Street. So I see a lot of the old door staff. Yeah. Which is great, and they remember a lot of the fun times.
I'll bet, yeah. You sent me a link to Fletcher's Brew, which we'll get into in a second. But the tune that you sent me, for my sins, I can't remember the title of it. But you start off and you're playing brushes, and you play this lovely little set of drums. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, Gretsch.
They were little Gretsch kit.
That's a kit that Tony Levin left me.
Oh, okay.
He died a couple of years ago.
Beautiful.
He's a big friend of mine.
Beautiful sounding drums. But anyway, you start off playing brushes, and then you sort of morph quite. How you do it, I'm not sure, but you get suddenly there's kind of mallets in your hand, and then equally by the end of the tune there's sticks in your hand.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that whole kind of
progression is.
Yeah, I mean that's not an easy transition from brushes to beaters to sticks.
I'd do it naturally because sometimes it looks weird, like I'm stabbing myself. I put my sticks under here,
right,
like that, and I've got beaters or brushes or so I can grab any one of them. Stick bag, and it's like I've had magicians who are on certain drum forums, which we won't go into, who said, "Look, I watched you do that, and I'm a magician, and I couldn't see how you did it."
Me too.
Well, I'll show you, but I just don't. It is really it's body language and just a movement.
Right.